In this video, we are taking a look at possibly the biggest and definitely the most controversial change to Tesla's full self-driving we've seen yet. The system has evolved, and it essentially stops nagging you for holding your phone. I'll be honest, I seriously debated even filming this test, let alone posting it. It feels wrong, and in most places it is still illegal, but Elon Musk says this new behavior depends entirely on context, whatever that means. So, is checking a text acceptable on a quiet dirt road where there's absolutely no one else around? Maybe. But is it okay in a busy downtown? Probably not. Today, despite my hesitation, we are putting this to the test to see exactly how long the car lets me look away, why Tesla might think this actually increases safety, and the scary question, who is liable if this goes wrong? Let's drive. We can now kind of use our phones while self-driving is driving the car. And you've kind of always been able to do that if you really wanted to trick the system. It is still illegal to do that in most states, not all states is it illegal. But it's something that now the car will not nag you about. So in the past, we used to have the hand nag. So you had to have a hand on the steering wheel at all times. You could take it off for a few seconds. And if you didn't put a hand on, it would, turn the system off. Actually, before that, when autopilot first came out, there was no nags. And that's when people were doing stupid stuff and getting in the back seat and stuff. So Tesla added the hand nag. Then we got, of course, the eye tracking along with the hand nag. And then we got hands off, which has been awesome. Such a big improvement, actually. But once that was implemented, if either the camera up there couldn't see your eyes because of your hat, like this, or if it detected something in your hand, if it saw your phone, it would say device detected in hand. Now you have to have a hand on the wheel. And that's been kind of evolving. If you had either sunglasses on or your eyes covered, it was much more sensitive to you having things in your hand. Well, now the car doesn't really care if you have stuff in your hand. Actually, let's see exactly what Elon said as we drive over to this first destination here. So somebody said, wait, am I able to text and drive on FSD 14.2.1? I've been on my phone for an extended period of time. Look at my eyes as I'm doing this. So Elon responded and said, depending on context of surrounding traffic, yes. And so you can see right now I'm staring down at my phone. The car is driving. It feels very unnatural. And there we go. I got my first please pay attention to the road warning. So I'm going to glance up now as the car's doing circles in this parking lot, getting confused. And the car doesn't care anymore. I still have my phone right in front of me, but I am paying attention to what I'm doing here. So I don't know what the car is doing, but this is actually really good for my test here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring up this stopwatch and I'm going to look down at the phone. We're going to see how long it lets me do this. So there we go. I'm looking at my phone. Elon says blah, blah, blah. So let's look at some of the replies here. Who is liable if someone is texting on FSD and something happens? Okay, that's not what we wanted. Give me 1 second here. All right, so this is more what I wanted. I want the car to go a little bit farther. Once we're out of reverse here, let me just look forward so the car doesn't care. And boom, I'm looking down at my phone. Who is liable if someone is texting on FSD and something happens, though? Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious that that's going to be me, the driver in the driver's seat. Tesla isn't telling you, well, it's kind of weird because I looked up. There we go. There's our first warning. So we got about 10 seconds there before the first visual warning and then a couple more seconds before an audible warning. And there was nobody in that parking lot. So about 10 seconds of looking down at my phone. Even this, holding this, feels very unnatural. And I'll tell you, in the state of Michigan, you cannot have your phone out for any reason. It's supposed to be mounted. That's why I have this here so I can mount it. Of course, I don't usually do that in videos. I just keep it put away. But with FSD used to yell at you for it and it would turn off the system and it was inconvenient. So a lot of people, what they would do is they would turn off FSD, drive manually so they could send their text or do whatever silly thing they're doing. And now Tesla's updated it. I don't know, I guess they think it's safer for you to do that. Now here's another vehicle. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put this down because that person doesn't know what's going on. I don't want to put them in danger. They don't want to even feel like they're in danger because they see some goof over here holding a phone while they're driving. So let's try this again. Here we go. And boom, I'm looking down at the phone. Are you saying when there's not much traffic around, it will let you go on your phone and not throw the eye tracking nag? Well, as we just saw, that's not exactly true because it did throw the eye tracking nag even though there were no vehicles around and we're pretty much in a parking lot. So there you go, there's the nag. So it looks like around 10 seconds or so before I have to look up. But what's even more interesting than that, what we just witnessed there, is Tesla's basically turned off the caring about having something in your hand, which I kind of like. So let me reset this. Let's start self-driving here. And I want to bring that timer up so I won't do this experiment till the cameras are gone. But the old eye tracking would kind of yell at you for water bottles and all kinds of like silly things. Like I would have my glasses on and I'd grab my glasses case to put them away and it would yell at me because I'm holding this which is obviously not a phone, but it would say device detected in hand, and it didn't like that. So that buggy stuff is gone. So let me bring this back up here and let's watch this. So here we go. We put the timer on. I'm going to scroll again. For everyone reading along, Tesla removing the safety feature doesn't make it legal. Don't get pulled over for using your mobile device while behind the steering wheel if it is illegal where you live. So there we go. We got about 10 seconds. I'm going to look up and I'm going to look right back down. This is big and will help prevent people from disengaging FSD to text HART. And this is where a lot of people, it's controversial, but this feels so wrong. I got to tell you guys, it's controversial. But a lot of people, what they want to point out is if you look, and I'm naturally looking up, I can't help but look at the road while the car is driving. So let me reset this because I've been screwing it up. All right, we'll start this again. And we'll go live stream this first. I knew it. So everybody was kind of figuring this out. Even when I was on the track with Kyle from Out of Spec, I was using my phone, and that was a closed track, so there's nothing illegal about what I was doing, but it felt weird to be like, whoa, I'm like using X right now. So there you go. There's our audible warning, which is probably the one that's going to make you look up. So we got about 15 seconds, I would say there. And then I look up and I can look right back down. Cool. Are you willing to let Tesla take liability? Otherwise, this is kind of meaningless. And so what people want to point out, I think I've had enough of that for now, but we'll test a little bit more in a second. What people want to point out is that you look around you, and people without any driver assist, without FSD, and all kinds of cars, maybe they have, you know, adaptive cruise control, maybe they have lane keep, stuff like this. People are on their phones 90% of the time. Does that make it right? No, of course not. Does that make it okay? No, of course not. But what people will point out is that if a Tesla driver with FSD is doing it, it is safer than someone who's not using FSD. And to that, I cannot disagree. If you have to have two people side by side texting in their car, would you rather them be on FSD or off of FSD? And I think that's ultimately where this decision came up, to kind of stop this nagging and monitoring. On top of that, it's not exactly Tesla's responsibility to stop people from texting and driving. A couple of very obvious examples here. Number one, if I don't wear my seatbelt in my car and I get a ticket for that, or I go flying out of the car and hurt somebody else because my body went, you know, flinging into their vehicle, the manufacturer, Ford isn't responsible because I didn't wear a seatbelt in my Ford. You know, GM's not responsible because I didn't wear a seatbelt in my GM. They could, though. They have the technology. Oh, we slipped on some ice there and the car changed its mind. They have the technology to stop the car from driving if you don't have your seatbelt on. Does anyone want that? I don't think so. I think that'd be pretty terrible. There's tons of times where I hop in my car in my driveway and move it down the driveway. I have no legal obligation to put my seatbelt on, you know, in that scenario. Same thing with like cruise control. Look at how it didn't need to stop for that squirrel, but we've lost that 14.1 magic, y'all. I'm trying to stay focused here. Lots of vehicles now, newer vehicles, Tesla, Ford, you know, everybody, GM, BMW, I'm not trying to pick on any company, can read speed limit signs or know the speed limit in a specific area, whether it's map data or they use cameras or whatever they do, and they allow you to speed. I mean, every day people are breaking the law by speeding. And none of this is me making excuses to break the law here. I'm just kind of giving some context to the whole situation. And nobody is, you know, stopping them from doing that, even though they technically have the technology. On top of that, data brokers are stealing your personal information, collecting it, and selling it to third parties, which is putting you at risk for identity theft, phishing, and other scams. And today's sponsor, Delete Me, can help you get your personal information erased from these websites. I've been using Delete Me for over 2 years now. I've seen my information personally deleted from these websites. They even collect information about your family members and everything. Delete Me has family plans, and they also have 20% off right now if you use my link down below to get a Delete Me plan. I highly suggest you use Delete Me. It's a very valuable service that I've been using a long time. And they've been a sponsor of the channel for a long time. And I've heard a lot from you guys that you've been liking Delete Me and what it does. So use that link down below. Get your personal information, like your address, phone number, your job, your name, your work address, email. Get all those things taken off of those data brokers. There's hundreds or even thousands of them out there. And Delete Me will do all the hours and hours of work for you to get your information deleted. So thank you to Delete Me for sponsoring this parking in a handicapped spot, which hopefully will be fixed soon as well. So yeah, thanks to Delete Me for sponsoring this video. We're gonna just click continue here. We did not want to park in a handicapped parking spot. So I say all of that to say that it's not Tesla's responsibility to keep us from using our phones. There's tons of illegal things we can do in our car and that people do in their car every day. And the manufacturer of the vehicle is not responsible for stopping you from doing them. Now, That doesn't mean I don't think this could have some backlash. It doesn't mean NHTSA's not going to put out a statement, and say, hey, Tesla, could you please put that back? But I think Tesla has the data. They know FSD is safe, and they know that people are turning it off to do silly things in their vehicles. And I think Tesla's kind of decided, look, y'all, we don't want you to get hurt. We don't want the cars to crash. We want the cars to be driving themselves. Now, whether you agree with me or agree with what I'm saying, I'm not even 100% saying I agree with it. I'm just kind of guessing on the stance and why this came up at the time it did. So watch this. We are waiting to turn here, and we're going to do boom, and we're just going to see here. I don't really need anything on my phone. We'll just put it here, and I'll look down, and we'll see how long we get before the car bugs me. Now, I also have a hat on, which could be part of it here. I've been checking the screen. Wow, I'm surprised it's not yelling at me yet, probably because I'm looking up at the screen. I can't help it. I can't help but look as we're... See, like it didn't even nag me that time. And I couldn't stop myself from checking the surroundings because I know there's a lot of cars out there. It brings another point to me in that, if Tesla said, hey, you don't have to use your seatbelt while driving FSD either. Does that mean everyone's going to suddenly stop driving without their seatbelt? I don't think so. I think most people have enough kind of common sense and knowledge to do kind of the right thing and do the smart thing as they're, utilizing the software and driving their vehicles around. Does this mean I'm going to be constantly like watching YouTube on my phone like this as the car's driving around? Like, no, that's ridiculous. It doesn't even make sense. It's illegal. It's dangerous. And it just feels wrong. Does it mean that maybe now I'll be a little more willing to check a text and respond to it with voice? Maybe, I'm going to admit that there may be times where, like, especially at a red light like this, I would just be like, oh, okay, I'm going to check this out. Now, something that's been true on Tesla's driver monitoring the whole time, even when we were back in the hand days when you had to have a hand on the wheel, at red lights, it's not in effect. So you could do whatever you want. You could close your eyes. You could, lay back. But as soon as the light turns green, it is going to start nagging you if you're not paying attention. Now, the other thing I want to bring up to people that I think is probably the biggest concern, and, for me, that I think people should be most aware about is on the subject of liability. And this comes into a lot of things. So driving these heavy vehicles all over the road is very dangerous. And in that if a mistake is made either by you or the vehicle, or there's a huge pothole that blows your tire out, or there's ice on the road, or some other idiot runs into you and then makes you run into someone else, bad things happen. I was watching what was happening there, but the car handled it great. Bad things happen all the time. And that's why we have insurance. And we use our insurance to protect us, to protect us financially, to protect us legally. And my biggest concern is that if you have an issue where you didn't do anything wrong, some other car runs into you, causes you to, run into a house and it blows up. I don't know. I'm just making up something crazy. If in investigation, and I'm not a pro at any of this, but I'm just kind of thinking about how this might play out. They're investigating this and say they pull they get a subpoena from Tesla and they're able to pull this. I don't think that it goes back to Tesla in that way, but let's just, make it up and say that it does. They pull your in-cabin camera, or there's a street camera looking at you, whatever. They get that footage and they see you're on your phone. Are they going to care that the nag was reduced? Are they going to care? It's like, no, I'm allowed to look at my phone for 10 seconds at a time now. I can do that if I want. No, they're not. And even if you had zero, liability, you had zero involvement in whatever crazy scenario happened that I'm totally making up and is probably never going to happen, but could, you've now opened up a whole can of worms that you wouldn't have had if you just didn't have that little thing in your hand. And the other big thing about that is 99.99% of the time, whatever's happening on there, whatever you're doing, is just not that important. It can wait, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. If Stephanie's texting me, she's like, hey, when are you going to be home? And I'm in the middle of driving. Like, does it matter if I just get home? She can obviously check the Tesla app and stuff, but I'm just, making up scenarios. Does it matter if I just don't respond and then I arrive home 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, or wait till I get to a red light, or, go to a parking lot if it's that important? It's risk reward, like a lot of things in life. The risk you take, is it worth what you're getting out of doing that activity? Being a scientist, especially a biologist, that was a huge part of our decisions. Like, do you want to do this thing because it brings risk. Is it worth the risk you're taking? Like sometimes, heck yeah, it is, because your risk is really low and your reward is potentially really high. This is not a parking spot. This is the second non-parking spot we've parked in. So there's a lot. This is a big subject for a lot of people, I think. Do we have a destination? We do. So while it's cool and it's exciting, and I see a whole side of people who are celebrating this, like, yes, the cars are self-driving. We don't need to pay attention. We can text, blah, blah, blah. There's a whole slew of edge cases out there, which is what this, thing has been about the whole time, where, don't get me wrong, I think it's cool. I actually do think they should get rid of the nag. It is, in my opinion, not Tesla's responsibility to tell me what to do with my car. Now, it is their software, and like I bought full self-driving, but it's their software and their car, so I get how, it gets a little murky in that area. But it's not, in my opinion, the manufacturer's responsibility to police the way I use the item that I bought. This is my car. This is not their car. I bought full self-driving. They shouldn't be telling me, oh, you're banned from it now because you looked at your phone for 11 seconds instead of 10 seconds. Like, I just don't think that's the right approach. There are laws and things to take care of these things. If I want to take my seatbelt off and drive around, I don't think the manufacturers will stop me. I think a cop will see me eventually and I'm going to get a ticket and get punished for that. And if it keeps happening, that's kind of the way these things go. I don't think everyone's even going to agree with me. This is just we're in a crazy time because we're so close. I mean, look at this video. I haven't done anything. The car's just driving around. It's following the stop signs and the red lights and the green lights. And it's been so good now for a couple of months with, for well over a year now with version 13, but now with version 14, it's been so good. It's been going A to B. It makes silly mistakes like parking in the wrong parking spot, or, the back camera gets covered so it won't drive because you got to wipe it off, stuff like that. But we're not making any of these, I shouldn't say any, but we're very rarely making any safety mistakes now. We're very rarely being annoying and getting in people's ways. So it's exciting. I think it's cool. Let's go. I want to test it one more time here because I wanted to get on a slightly faster road. Now there are cars around us, but there's no people. This is more what I'd be comfortable with. So I'm going to pick this up. Now, first, let's just hold it here for a second. The car doesn't care if you do this, if you're holding the phone. Whereas in the past, whoa, squirrel, almost got nailed by that car. In the past, immediately it'd be beeping at you and yelling at you stuff. So here we go. I'm going to look down and boom, we're looking down and we're going to see, yep, I see that it's passing that car there. That's insane. See, like that feels so, it just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. If a cop sees me right now, I'm screwed and it's all my responsibility. So there you go. It looks like we're about 10 seconds before it's yelling at me. But again, the big part of that, the big part of why that's interesting is if I really want to shoot off a text or something. Let's see. I pick this up. I go to write a post. Hey, how's it going? Send. Put it down. So I'm done. I did that. It didn't yell at me. Nothing happened. And if there's no accidents and nothing happens, then everyone's going to be happy. But that's just not always going to be the case. That's just not always going to be the case. The other aspect that I wanted to talk about, I'm almost done with this little mini rant here. I got two more main things. The other aspect is the distance you travel in that short amount of time. So we were going, let's say 35 miles an hour. Hey, how far do I travel if I'm driving 35 miles an hour for 10 seconds?
35 miles per hour is about 51 feet per second. So in 10 seconds, you'd cover right around 500 feet.
500 feet is a lot of distance. It doesn't feel like much because it goes by so fast. And we don't move naturally at 35 miles an hour. And especially when your attention is not on that. When you're not looking at the lines going by, you're not looking at the driveways going by. You're not seeing the cars on the other side of the road. You're seeing nothing move. You're just sitting here. And then you've teleported 500 feet. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing. And then the last thing I really want to emphasize is I think it's silly to spend too much time. I'm not going to say I've never looked at my phone. I'm not going to say I've never checked a text or responded to a text while I'm in FSD. That would be ridiculous. I've done it. I'm sure most people have done it. I don't think it's a great idea, especially the more what I've been seeing online where people are like, oh, I'm doing all this. I don't have to pay attention now. I've drove an hour and I wrote 16 emails and I edited a whole video. At the same time, I'm not judging you. I'm just giving you my opinion that I think it's silly. And those little boys over there probably wouldn't appreciate, you know, if the car is driving next to them at 40 miles an hour and you're looking at your phone. Is the car extremely safe and would never go near them? I do believe so, yes. But at the same time, look how it sucks at parking. It's so bad now. What is happening here? At the same time, I think we're in a really weird spot where we're getting close to that unsupervised. It's still illegal, although it's much safer than what you're seeing other people doing. It doesn't justify, just because it's better and safer, it doesn't justify doing it. But it's very interesting, and I think the update is very cool. And I love kind of the march. And I think in another year or something, none of this is really going to matter, but I think for now it's important to talk about. So let's do, I've been blabbing a lot. Let's do one final stretch here. I wanted to hop on the highway and see if it's any better, because I don't know about you, but for me, the main place that I see people checking their phone is driving on the highway. And it's just like I'm in the right lane, they're in the left lane like this, just flying past me. And I'm like, oh, they're like in a Jeep or something, or a 99 Oldsmobile. And I'm just like, I've even had people respond, you know, when you say like, oh, my car can drive itself, and people don't know anything, you know, they're like, oh, my car can do that. I've had people tell me, you know, back in the autopilot days, like, oh yeah, my knees do that. You know, they're like, can you text? And I'm like, technically, but you're not really supposed to. And I'm like, oh, I can. I just put my knees on the wheel and then I can text. I don't need autopilot. I'm like, oh my gosh. But obviously people do it constantly all over the place. So let's hop on the highway and do one more test here. But this will definitely not going to be a regular part of my videos, don't get me wrong. I just wanted to kind of talk about this update because you almost got like the blessing from the CEO. Like, he didn't say like, yeah, go ahead and text. But he said, depending on the context, it's not going to nag you, you know, if you pick up your phone like it used to. So once we merge on here, I'm definitely not going to do it during this kind of maneuver. And we'll keep it in standard. So we're on the highway here, and instead of phone, I'm just going to look at the screen. So I'm going to press this, and I'm just going to stare right at that timer, and we're going to see how the car handles that. Because this is essentially the same thing. And this is actually where I think the update is awesome. Because there we go, we got about 10 seconds again. So I'm not seeing too much of a difference depending on, like, we're on the highway going almost 70. I got snow in my tires, don't worry about this. I gotta clean out my tires. We're on the highway going about 70 versus in that neighborhood where nobody was around. It was like the same amount of time. So we'll do it one more time here. So we should get about the same 10 seconds here. Yep, and it's nagging me at 10 seconds. Also, we have this exit coming up, so it may have even nagged me sooner. I know that looks ridiculous. I have to clean the snow out of my tires. It's so annoying. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below. I know this is a crazy kind of controversial thing. I think people will be mad even that I like made the video. Some people are like, oh, don't talk about it. NHTSA's gonna mess it up. Like, okay, everybody's already talking about it. NHTSA knows what's going on. Like, they know exactly what Elon is saying at all times. There's no one individual of us that's gonna quote unquote mess it up. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this one. You'll see me in the next video.